Hello? 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 Oh, hello, camera. So, I was ditched in the desert. Again. This keeps happening. Must be a them thing. Can't be possibly be me thing. Never a me thing. So, while I'm here, I want to talk about a film of interest that I saw recently. One that has a reputation, and having seen it now, I thought of the perfect way to present this thing to you, the viewer. So, there's a film called Nothing But Trouble. A very troubled production brought to us by Dan Aykroyd of Ghostbusters fame and mental illness because the man is crazy. So, what happens when you are riding high on creative power? The studio gives you a budget and gives you no supervision and trusts you because, hey, you were part of Ghostbusters. They let you do whatever you want with your own script and reshoots, and nobody said no to your insane concepts and what the fuckery of what you produced. And yeah, movies like this don't happen anymore because studios keep a better eye on their productions, usually. What did Dan Aykroyd produce? Well, he produced a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Specifically, Texas Chainsaw Part 2. Why specifically that one? The original has an infamous of being one of the best horror movies of all time, so on and so forth. His reputation precedes itself. The sequel is a weird-ass self-parody of the first movie by the same director and team decades later, and it is a weird, goofy-ass horror comedy. And audiences did not appreciate that because they were expecting, a Texas Chainsaw movie, and they got something else. Nothing But Trouble is again something else. It is not something in the same vein as Ghostbusters or any of the other famous 80s comedies that Dan Aykroyd was involved in. No. This all-star cast, which has Chevy Chase, Demi Moore, and Dan Aykroyd in a lot of makeup and fat suits and other outfits. Oh yeah, and John Candy. This thing is not what they were expecting. This thing is special. So why did I bring up Texas Chainsaw? Because this movie has nearly every single trope and shtick from that franchise, specifically the second one, is in this movie. With the exception that's not in Texas. That's the only difference. And no one actually has a chainsaw in this movie. Everything else, though, fits perfectly. Chevy Chase, and Demi Moore, he's a banker. She's, something, I forget what she was doing, but the two of them wind up going to the middle of nowhere outside of Jersey, and after running a stop sign, they get brought in by the cops, aka John Candy, who is weirdly playing the straight man to all this bullshittery, which is honestly kind of against type, but also surprisingly effective because he gets to be John Candy, serious man, several times, to where he'll be nice and friendly and then pull a gun on you a couple times. And it's completely disarming when it happens because John Candy. It works. John Candy takes these two to see the justice of the peace for this little town that they're in. And the justice of the peace's house is in the middle of a junkyard fortress full of scrap cars and tires, and you see where this is going. Last time I saw a junkyard this bad was Nightmare on Elm Street 2. Or 3. And then they meet the judge, played by Dan Aykroyd, wearing the nastiest prosthetics, also designed by the guy who did Nightmare on Elm Street 2. So, he looks gross. Good job. Playing a 106-year-old man who frequently looks like he has a penis for a nose. Until later in the movie when they actually do briefly change the prosthetic to be a penis on his face. For a 2-second gag. Worth it. And of course, Chevy Chase is Chevy Chase, and things go poorly, and we start seeing all the Texas Chainsaw stuff. You have a horrifying house that is decorated with the leavings of previous victims and trophies, and decorated with human parts and bones. You have a literal dinner scene, which, if you're familiar with the Texas Chainsaw franchise, is in every fucking movie. There's cannibalism, because they get fed sausage that's implied to be human, made of human. Because on the premises they have a roller coaster called the Bone Stripper that does exactly what's on the tin. Yep, this is the movie. Nothing But Trouble is basically a Texas Chainsaw sequel with Dan Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, and Demi Moore. That should be enough to get you in the door. Is this a good movie? I'm not sure. It's fascinating. Fascinating production history. Just every single frame of the film has so much detail, so many weird choices. Every scene is just like, what am I looking at? It's also gross, but it's fascinating. You can't really look away because you're like, what is this fascinating thing in front of me? Why does this exist? It's rare to find these kind of movies. But yeah, I say give Nothing But Trouble a watch. I have not spoiled much of anything on this sucker. I'm just giving you the bare bones setup. Is it a perfect movie? Oh, hell no. It's got some problems. The tone is wildly it goes wild. You have weird man-children babies and full-on prosthetic creatures that don't make much, that kind of are out of place for half the movie. The acting is uneven. Dan Aykroyd's doing his thing because he knows what's going on. He's the only one that knows what's going on. Chevy Chase feels lost frequently and keeps getting asked to do action movie things like action roles and stunts and stuff, and it's odd seeing him do that. And Demi Moore is she's trying her hardest, but she's like, I think she realized halfway through what was going on and went, well, I'm not gonna regret it. I'm not gonna live this one down. Fuck it. I'm gonna give it my all. I'll get Oscar nods decades later. It's fine. No one will remember this movie. Also, she has some spectacular 80s fashion in here that was great to see. Some all-timer power suits. But yeah, Nothing But Trouble. Nothing but an interesting movie. Also weird. Very weird. Give it a watch. Well, the sun has gone down. I've talked about this. It is going to drop to like 0 degrees, and I'm going to freeze to death in the middle of the desert. So, a normal Tuesday. Anywho, good night. Bye-bye. Join Patreon. Give me money for porn. So on and so forth. You know the bit by now. Bye-bye. Get